Okay, good morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back in the room. This is so nice to see everybody. So things are looking up. So seems to be heading in the right direction anyway. So, and welcome, Richard. So happy you could join us. I know it's summer and I'm glad to see that some people are able to get away. And, but we're, just enough for our quorum and to continue business. We don't have a big agenda today. I felt that we could have skipped, in the summer, we can skip meetings, but since we had the opportunity to meet in person, I thought, why not? It's been a long time. So just for the sake, even just to reconnect a little bit and catch up with each other. So thank you for taking time out today of another beautiful, hot, sticky summer day out there.
She came because I heard there was coffee and donuts.
That's right. At the store. So you were right. So I will officially call the meeting to order. And we'll start with the review of the agenda. Anything you wanted to add to our discussions today? It's good. Okay, so if I could have a mover and seconder for the agenda, Jim?
I'll second.
Okay, Ruthann? All in favor?
Richard Kasul,
Yes.
Kay Haynes,
Yes.
Ruth Ann Perrin,
Yes.
Jim Jenkins.
Yes.
Councillor Jaguar.
Yes.
5-0, the motion is carried.
Thank you. The adoption of the minutes from our June 21st meeting. Any errors or omissions? Good. That's a good summary. Thank you for putting those together. So can I have a mover and seconder for the minutes? Okay. Seconder, Ruthann, all in favor?
Richard Kasul,
Yes.
Kay Haynes, Ruth Ann Perrin.
Yes.
Jim Jenkins.
Yes.
Councillor Jaguar.
Yes.
5-0, the motion is carried.
Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Anyone today? Looks like we're good. Thank you. Moving on to donation update. So the manager, so Jennifer, our manager of finance, is away today. But I think, Catherine, you have the update for us and we'll bring it up on screen. It's very good news. Are you ready? We should have a little drum roll.
So if we do have any in-depth questions, I'm happy to take them back to Jennifer because I am not a financial analyst, but the update is on the board for you and it will be put in the minutes and circulated afterwards. We've received 2 large pledges since we met last time. One is over the course of 3 years and the other is over the course of 5 years. We also have had one pledge for $10,000 that's been satisfied. We've received the check and that's been moved to the received column. The change in expenses over the last report include a small amount of credit card fees and an invoice for the consultants. But other than that, relatively low. Maybe I'll let Councillor Jaguar give the good news about what percentage of the campaign we're at right now.
Just crunching that magic number I wanted to refer to. So what I suggested and discussed with Jennifer and Catherine and wanted to check with you is that as far as reporting and tracking our progress and our performance as a committee, I suggested that we spread the pledges. So if it's a 3-year donation, for example, that as far as our tracking, we actually put each amount in each year. So we don't count it, we don't count the whole donation for this year. We count a third this year and a third the second and the third year. So that means that we will start the campaign next year, or the year 2, a little bit ahead of the game, but it's more realistic in terms of, because the donor will actually give us a check this year for only 1/3. So we thought that would be a fair way to track. And the other thing I suggested, because as you know, our expenses were, overall will be higher the first year because we had a lot of upfront costs. So I suggested to Jennifer that she spread also the expenses that we've incurred up to now over 3 years. Because like all the design work and all of that, we won't have to pay for that again. So just to give us a more realistic picture. So when you look at these numbers all in, if you were to look at just this year, I think we're at 100. It doesn't show up specifically in this format. So, and Jennifer's going to modify the format for next time, for our next meeting, to show that progress the way we discuss next week, so that it's like visually, it's easy to see the progress. So what this means is that for this year, we stand at about $113,000, which is 50%, 50% of our goal this year. So that's very exciting. So we're almost like kind of like just past half the year, and here we are at 50%. And then when we look at the full campaign, and if we were to count in the pledges that we already have, commitment for year 2 and year 3, that's where we stand at 193, which is 30% of our total campaign. So 30% over 3 years. So in other words, I don't know about you, but I think we're doing very, very well. So congratulations to all of us, all the hard work, and despite COVID, we've been able to, make phone calls and reach out and make presentations and, follow up with our plan, and it seems to be working. So any comments or questions about that? Other than confetti and balloons coming down the ceiling. Yes, exactly. So when we reach that, the final goal, definitely I want balloons and confetti. Environmentally friendly balloons.
I say we could even have that before if we make our goof.
Let's aim for year 1 goal.
Unknown caller.
We're 50% there. Sorry, did I miss something?
I don't know.
Okay, so again, congratulations. And we'll work on updating just the format of the report, so it's easy. I mean, right now, it's a very financially sound report from financial perspective, but also for us, so that it's easy to interpret and see how well we're doing. And so I will be following up with, I had been in touch with McBain Signs to fill the heart on our large sign. And initially, when I contacted him, I talked about 30%. So now today I can actually say, you know what? You can make that first heart at 50%. So it'd be half full. So again, congrats. Okay, so thank you for that, Catherine.
Can we receive and file?
Absolutely. Very happy to ask for a motion to receive and file the financial report. Mover and seconder. Dan? Richard?
Richard Kasul,
Yes.
Kay Haynes,
Yes.
Ruth Ann Perrin,
Yes.
Jim Jenkins,
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer.
Yes.
5-0, the motion is carried.
Okay, the next item on the agenda was just a little update on the media and advertising plans that we have. So the summer campaign is continuing in the Elmer Express. So there's another ad planned for this week. Last time we had talked about designing a poster so that we could, all of us can put a poster now that people are going out and we can go to church and we can go to different community places and different stores or restaurants. So we'll be distributing that. We had just a quick update for everybody that we were looking to, for sure, minimize costs on the poster. And we were going to approach other potential printers, but Elmer Express quickly offered to say, we can do that. So they did polish the design that Catherine had initiated and printed 100 copies. So I'll make sure that everybody has a few copies with you before you leave. And Richard, there was a small typo in the original that we
I saw it.
we've,
Yeah.
so I will, and the same with Terrace Lodge. I had, Tanya, I had dropped off a few at Terrace Lodge, so I'll drop by and drop off a few more, or I can leave some, maybe, if you're going, I don't know if you're going to the lodge already this week.
I'll be going, yeah.
You'll be going, so I'll leave a few with you just to replace the ones, the ones that were initially printed are missing one digit in Ruth Ann's phone number, so maybe it was a ploy so that she would not get any phone calls. I highly doubt that, since it was the committee who recommended that we put your name and number. So, but these things happen, so it's not a problem.
We got her fixed.
We got it fixed. We're creative, we're resourceful. And we have got all the skills, as I was working with the white marker, that I said, all the skills that we need, we learned in kindergarten, including that little cutout that I made of cardboard to fill the heart, which I'm amazed to see that it's still there after 2 weeks of, rain and storm. And the little cardboard temporary cutout is still there. So we're a resourceful bunch. Our last meeting, the committee had a great suggestion to translate some of the material, starting with the poster and maybe doing an ad on the radio. So our fellow committee member, Jamie Chapman, followed up and to Mr. Wall, who is the new manager, I guess, at Mennonite Community Services. And they've accepted, and in principle, they just requested a formal letter. So Catherine and I put that together last week and we sent it out. So that is in progress. We assume we should have something to report. And at that point, once we have the translation, I'll reach back to Elmer Express and find out if they could redesign it or, like put the translated version together. If they're willing to do that as well, or maybe this is another opportunity to go out to another printer. But so that was a great idea. So it's in progress. Any thoughts or questions, comments on media and advertising? And I believe the feature in the what's it called? The North Shore Beacon, I think, is coming out this week. So so we'll keep an eye out and we can always promote it on social media. We can send it to all of you. So that should be a nice boost as well.
There was one bit of feedback from the family council at Terrace Lodge. They just mentioned, they mentioned that they felt that it would be beneficial if in the advertising, when there's a photo, that it maybe look at having resident photos, like, that might hit a bit closer to home, obviously with approval and, signing the media release, but they felt that adds kind of a personal touch. So I just thought I'd bring that forward. That was just at their last meeting.
Yes. I think that's a great idea. Would you be willing to take more photos?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have, now that people are having the outdoor entertainment and there's a little more, we're allowed to do a little bit more in the home. So if you have an idea of kind of what items you're thinking to highlight for the next campaign, I can, plan to, stage a few photos that might be relevant or pull from what we already have.
Yes, I agree. And I notice especially whichever package of stock photos that the Elmer Express is using, they're not the only company using that package. Because I noticed that one of the gentlemen in one of the photos that we use was used by an insurance company, and like anything, or even like the Elgin survey for, and I thought, this gentleman is quite popular. He's obviously like in the package of stock photos for, and I'm sure if you search, seniors or so, yeah, I thought the same, and including even the one you will see this week. I thought, like, should we, does it look close enough to us, like to Terrace Lodge? Does it look too, too commercial almost? But, so I doubt you would have time to take a picture today. Sorry, I'm looking at the camera. Like, because I know they're working on the ad today for next week. But
I have a couple photos that I can look at. If they're working on it today, I can see. It
Okay.
might fit, it might not. Like they do send me photos that I use in our newsletter. So, even if they, can play around with the photo in the sense of, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the focus is, but I guess just having a person just helps. They can put it in with whatever item, or I can look at it. Do you want me to just send it to yourself?
yes,
Okay.
have a look if you have something already. So the theme, so we're still in the summer theme, and I think the tagline this week is about outdoor celebration.
Oh, okay. So I
Celebrate
probably
with
do.
families. Okay,
And even if it's a resident from Elgin Manor, I think, like, again, it's a resident. So that I
Yeah.
probably do have photos between, and then I already have consent. I just like to let the person know so that they might have given consent for a newsletter, but maybe not a newspaper ad. So I like to let them know what it's used for, so they're not surprised. But yeah, I'm sure I can find something. I'll do that as soon as the meeting's over.
Okay, terrific. I think that's a great suggestion, because I had that same reaction and I wasn't sure what the alternative was. But
Thought that too. I thought these aren't people from Terrace Lodge.
that's right. Like,
Like-
these aren't our people.
Oh,
They're lovely people, I'm sure. Nothing against them, but yeah, they do look like more like models. Like they look, the setup looks very, very, like a little bit artificial.
yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll see what we can do. Do we need a motion for this item? No, just information. Excellent. Donor recognition. So again, just wanted to give you an update. So we're going to do, so last week with Catherine's all wonderful logistical work, we were able to take photos at the, with the sign, with a few checks and a few of our donors who were interested. And thank you to committee members who were able to, we didn't brave the cold this time, we braved the heat. It was hot and sticky. We're standing there and we took turns with different donors, but it worked out really well. So now we have a bunch of photos that over the next few weeks we can use to feature one donor at a time. And we'll also do a media release. Probably, I think, this week. And so we're just drafting that now. So thank you for organizing that event, and thank you for coming out. I think it's really important to do that, and it was nice to even connect in person with some of the donors that with whom, like some of them, we just had email exchanges. So that was wonderful, a wonderful event. So we'll be using that. So I've accumulated a number of thank you cards now, so I'll be sending those out this week. And yeah, I think as far as donor recognition, again, I think we're on track according to our plans of doing photos and media release and social media. So I think that's working out well. We will move, I know it's still on in the plans to do the large TV screen in Terrace Lodge. So I did not prioritize that immediately because nobody was going there anyway. But
Mhm.
now that there are more visitors, I think we can move forward with that item that we had discussed previously. So then we can use like the sort of PowerPoint slide show that just sort of on the loop has different names and different company logos, and so we can move ahead with that. Jim?
Yes, will that be a permanent situation or will there be another framed type of permanent, written thing with the list of donors and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think so far, I think we've put that on hold to say, I think
Right.
something permanent, it will be warranted. And
Yes.
the idea will be that towards the end of the campaign, when we have a sense of how many donors, what, different levels of donors, we could discuss like a more permanent
Yes,
time. So this could be a nice temporary solution while
yes,
construction anyway, so we can move that screen and keep it out of the way at different phases of construction.
Mhm.
So absolutely. So there will be, I think that's what we agreed to. There should be something permanent eventually. And especially once we have a better sense of what we have. Excellent, excellent point. Yes, donor recognition is important. And I think we're doing a good job on that as well. Okay, any other comments or questions? Good. Fundraising strategies. So the latest one I wanted to bring to your attention as an option is legacy giving. And later today, after the meeting, I'll get back on my email and we'll send you a couple of examples. So our consultants suggested that if that's something we wanted to consider, like they sent me a couple of examples for you to look at. And so the idea is to produce a brochure that specifically speaks to legacy giving. In other words, if somebody wants to put Terrace Lodge in their will and or wants to make a pledge of some kind. So that is fairly common for many charities to do. And I think there is a precedent in other homes in Elgin County of people, and probably even at Terrace Lodge, I wouldn't be surprised if people have included the home in their will. So it's something that, we can make people aware of that possibility. So sometimes people may not consider the home just because they're not aware it is an option. So doing a simple brochure is one way to kind of raise awareness on that. So it is a very delicate thing to do. That there are rules around that this kind of advertising. So the consultant sent me some examples, which is, like I said, I will forward to you, as well as some of the guidelines of how to word it. And there's some guidelines in terms of if someone makes a decision, who needs to be present when the decision's made and all of that. Because you want to make sure that nobody was kind of, I don't know, convinced against their will, or like taken advantage of, say, hey, like you're looking at, anyway, you could see how these kinds of things could go sideways. So in the world of, charity and fundraising, there are proper ways to do that. And we could just take the templates on, the proper wording, make sure it's all, align with best practices. And then I'm hoping maybe what I would suggest is by next meeting, we'd have a draft for you to look at and for us to discuss to see if that fits our style and that fits the campaign and it fits the Terrace Lodge. So is that something you'd like to look into, Richard?
Yeah, I suggest we be very careful with how we want this, because we don't want it to ever look like we are targeting the people that we are supposed to be giving a comfortable home and life. We are kind of targeting their residues of their savings, right? If I can use it that way, because we know that when somebody's in their 80s, 90s, possibly they're on the road or on the route to actually passing on, if I can be as blunt as possible. I don't know if any other kind way or simpler word to use. So we need to be careful that the way we word it, we're not coercing somebody that is probably on route to passing away to give away their money. So I think it's going to be a very sensitive area of fundraising, but I guess if we have all the right support of how this can be done in a very ethical way, unbiased way, yeah, but I am a little bit,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, no, that's exactly what the potential issues are with this kind of giving. So, and I think we're fortunate that it is now like it's a fairly common practice. So it has been tested, if you like, or like the best practices of how to word this ethically and legally, and so that it's done. And I'm suggesting it it sort of came to my attention in a couple of ways. So we've had a couple of families at Terrace Lodge. So it's not the resident, but more the family who would say, you know, we would like to give back. So is there a way? And sort of, you know, wouldn't it be nice if there was a brochure where all of this is already explained, like who to contact or how to set it up? And so based on those requests of like inquiries, and we've also had recently a very generous donation, a lovely resident from Elgin Manor, I believe, was or a bequest of some sort at one of the homes. And which again triggers like, oh, I wonder if people are aware that you can do that. And that's when the consultant said, yeah, it's very common to just have a little brochure, you know, it's discreet, you can leave it there. It's just information for those interested. So that's why I wanted to see first with the committee if there was any interest at all, if you see this as a good fit for us. And if there is, then we can do just a first draft, look at it together, see if you're comfortable, if you like it, and we can decide together. Do I get the sense we should go ahead at least with the draft and see what it looks like?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But a lot of people at funerals, you know, the donation is
Yes.
the time to the,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
either Terrace Lodge or now maybe they would give it to the,
Yes.
donate to the fundraising rather than could do.
Yes, and that brings up another point. I think we discussed what we would like. So we also had an inquiry. Was it from the funeral home?
It's from Kebbles.
So we had an inquiry from Kebbles on how to proceed if somebody approaches them to say, how do I donate to Terrace Lodge? And of course, so they're willing to accept a check and pass it on. But as you know, we also need a little bit of information. So what we're thinking of doing is printing a card that people could fill out, and just to make sure that we have their name, address, phone number, and so we can, you know, track them down, because sometimes a check may or may not have their address, and we need to be able to contact them for consent, for receipts. And so that's another, I forgot to put that on the agenda, but yeah, that was another inquiry we received, and we thought that would be very easy to prepare a card that they could fill. So Kebbles, for example, could say, yeah, if you'd like to donate, if you wouldn't mind, just fill out this little card, and then with your check, and then the funeral home can pass this on to us.
Dominic, does the funeral home not fill out a card if you make a donation to a specific charity and your name, your address, and everything is on that card? And the main card goes to the family and then there is a carbon copy of it that goes to wherever the charity is?
Oh, I don't know.
I think there is,
They do that, so they collect all that information automatically?
right, the name, the address.
Okay,
I think they do, yeah.
yeah, automatically, okay. So we can look back,
Follow up with Nicole and see what information they collect.
yeah, see, so all we want to do is make it as easy for the home, like the funeral home as possible. So if they already have a mechanism, then maybe there's nothing else we need to do. Maybe it's just, yeah, maybe they want a brochure or a card, like to sort of be handy. Because, yeah, ultimately the information they were looking for is like, who do you make the check to is always the
Yeah.
question, right? Is it Terrace Lodge? Is it the county? Is it, and so like, what do I do with this check? So maybe it is just providing them with information and perhaps they already have a process. Okay, so we'll follow up on that.
Because I do know when they give to the Terrace Lodge Auxiliary, we always, the treasurer always gets a copy of the donation
Okay,
with the person's name and address onto it.
okay,
Then in turn to our secretary, who in turn sends out a thank you card.
perfect. Okay, so that's,
Okay,
can replicate the same.
it would be, all they would have to know is to make the check payable to the county of Alvin,
Yes,
earmark it.
yes, okay.
There would be no email address to send out a receipt, but we could mail it.
We could mail it, yeah, with the, okay, with the thank you card, right? Okay. Excellent, so we'll make sure we're set up for that. Any other comments on fundraising strategies? Richard,
And I just thought of a strategy a few days ago. I don't know how this really works, but or will work. But I'm thinking, I don't know if we have any friends, any care homes we call friends or alliances that we know probably a few years down the road or many years down the road they would ever need support from other homes, financial support, and they may be willing to give towards our cause. And probably we can give them an opportunity to give towards our cause right now, hoping that one time a few years down the road we could also come to their rescue. I don't know, you can throw some light on that and how that can even work.
I'm not
Maybe-
sure.
Maybe Tanya should tell us if our homes ever have friends like where you kind of either talk or make alliances or just be friends.
Well, we do have, like, we will do sometimes partner programs with other homes like Valley View, for example. Monetarily, it's a little more challenging just because of the structure of long-term care and the funding. Depending if a home is a for-profit home or a municipal home or a non-profit home, non-municipal, the funding structure is a little challenging. So when we've had grants, we will involve other homes. That's separate funding, but and again, I'm not the financial person. So to the best of my knowledge, it is slightly challenging just because of the funding structure. I'm trying to think of how that could work. We do have, partnering with community agencies who are doing fundraising, but that the person will come into the home. So that hasn't happened for quite some time. So I don't know. I'd have to look at that as well to see if it's something that would work. I'm not really sure from a financial perspective. I don't know, maybe somebody in the finance might have a little more light on that, shed a little more light. When we do share things, they tend to be non-monetary sharing of resources. If that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I'll just put a note to follow up with Jennifer in case she's aware of any previous campaigns or any previous arrangements, if something like that has ever been considered. See, go from there. Nice, thank you. Yeah, it's good to sort of continuously at least explore different strategies, and especially for the span of 3 years, like to use different strategies at different points. For example, I know last year, just after Christmas, we talked about how for this year's Christmas, we'll make sure that we're set up for people to give a donation as a gift. So it's a small adjustment to our tracking system where you're allowed, one person is the donor, but they're donating on behalf of somebody else and say, that's your, that's your Christmas gift. I donated for you instead of, giving you more stuff, right? So for sure, that's the strategy. I think that's really good, and it will be relevant to bring it up to almost like launch that feature and that strategy just in November, in early November, for example. Excellent. Okay, so any new business? Nothing new other than what we've just discussed in the other items. So shall we move into a closed session? So can I have a mover and seconder for a closed session where we can discuss specific items in identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees? We'll talk about donor outreach. Jim, and seconder? Richard?
Richard Kasul,
Yes.
Kay Haynes,
Yes.
Ruth Ann Perrin,
Yes.
Jim Jenkins,
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer.
Yes.
0, the motion is carried.
Okay, and we're back. So may I have a motion to rise and report? Mover and seconder, please. Jim? I'll take Kay. This has been trying every time, so now you're on the record.
Richard Kasul,
Yes.
Kay Haynes.
Yes.
Ruth Ann Perrin.
Yes.
Jim Jenkins.
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer.
Yes.
5-0, the motion is carried.
Okay, can I have a mover and seconder to receive and file the donor report, donor outreach report? Ruth Ann? Seconder? Everybody's okay, Richard.
Richard.
Richard Kasul,
Present.
Kay Haynes.
Yes.
Ruth Ann Perrin.
Yes.
Jim Jenkins.
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer.
Yes.
5-0, the motion is carried.
Thank you. So our next meeting, what's the date? We would want to suggest a month from now? What does that look like?
16th of August.
16th. What do you think? Should we meet on the 16th?
I'm away, but Carolyn can always take my place.
Okay, I'm just thinking, so I'm away the week before, or at least I'm trying not to work the week before. I don't know if I'm going anywhere, but so just because I know there's work to do, like I'd hate to not be available to review the agenda. And what would you think of the 23rd if we just wait 1 week and met the 23rd of August instead? On the Monday again?
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so we'll have probably a few more items ready to review between the suppliers list or legacy giving. what other, oh, the fall campaign. So we'll have a few more items ready to discuss. Okay, so we'll tentatively say 10 o'clock. I do want to canvass our other committee members, just to make sure if they have a preference of, we'll consider even the evening if necessary. It would be nice to have as many committee members as possible. Except for this week, it's a little bit hard with vacation and with things reopening. But it was worthwhile to meet for sure. But if that's okay with committee members, we'll canvass the other members to try to confirm the time, but we'll tentatively say the 23rd. And in the past, we've done anything from 10, 1, or 7. We'll send those 3 options and see which one would get us as many members as possible. That work with everybody? Okay, so for sure, pencil the 23rd and let you know. So I think that's it. So have a motion to adjourn.
Sure.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Richard Cassil, Kay Haynes,
Yes.
Ann Perrin,
Yes.
Jim Jenkins,
No. Yes.
Okay, we all voted.
Councillor Jiguer,
Yes,
5-0, the motion is carried.
I'm sorry.
wonderful. No, you don't have to go. This is too much fun. This is so much fun being in a room with people again. We don't want it to end. Richard, hopefully you'll make it with us in person if you can, but I so appreciate that you're able to make the time. I know it's busy during office hours, so it's much appreciated.
Oh, I thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you.